Shalom Israel. Has it ever crossed your mind that the complicated convergence of tribe, religion, and politics in Nigeria's democratic experimentation has left far more lethargic consequences for the Igbos than the other tribes? Hi there. This is your um, high priest bringing you another podcast on this beautiful, April 29th, 2019 day. I started this podcast today on a Socratic epistemic note because I want you to, give me your introspection, your reflections regarding the recent, upheavals and crisis in the southern part of, Kaduna State of Nigeria. And I'm also going to be talking about the latest, killing, homicide in New Zealand, in Christchurch, New Zealand. Christchurch is one word in New Zealand, as well as other important local and international events that have shaped our world in this April month of 2019 alone. We have received, with great, sadness about the recent, homicidal killings in southern in southern Kaduna of Nigeria. That corridor of our nation tends to have too many problems that border on tribe, on religion, and on politics. The people over there don't seem to be having an understanding of each other's complex religious, ethnic, and political histories. That's why every time there is an event of that cataclysmic nature, not just the indigenes there that get sucked up in the vortex, but also the Igbos that live in those areas. Igbos that are doing their peaceful businesses and other areas of human endeavor and engaged in other areas of human endeavor also get sucked up in that homicidal vortex. Today I'm going to be talking about the way in which the Igbos have suffered tremendously amid a socio-economic amid the socio-economic inequities and inequalities that have become prevalent and persistent in the Nigerian democratic experimentation. Despite the fact that Igbos cannot lay to claim or have a claim to fame some of the important political positions that abound in our nation. All they do is just manage their small businesses. I can empathize because I can put myself in their shoes. I am a trader myself. That's all I know how to do. That's what my parents taught me to do. So when these kind of crises occur, the Igbos tend to be more adversely affected than the other groups, even though they may not be the original targets. But because their shops, they have to close their shops. Sometimes the shops will be attacked, and then they will be ejected from their businesses. They get affected in one way or the other. And I have been reading, people's opinions regarding how Igbos must begin to think of relocating their businesses and their means of income to the southeast of Nigeria. While that is very important argument, but in terms of pragmatics and practicalities of the matter, it may not be as easy as it seems. People cannot just precipitously relocate their businesses to places where they have to start from a clean slate. But down the road, they may do that. They may relocate some part of their businesses in the southeastern part of Nigeria. I am not saying that it's not a brilliant idea. That given the the enormous, travesty Igbos have, suffered in other parts of Nigeria. They should not start rethinking, their strategies. But we also have to keep in mind that throughout history, Igbos have, been like nomads, just like the Jews of the Anglo-Saxon Jews. They have never, found it attractive uh, or appealing just to stay in a single place. They Igbos by nature constantly on the move. That's why the concept of the wandering Jew came about. The wandering Jew is not just a reference to Anglo-Saxon Jews, but also the Igbo Jews, because we're always wandering around looking for opportunities, looking for options. Even if Igbos relocate their businesses to the southeast and they make tons of money, that that urge, that impulse to always move in search of opportunities elsewhere, cannot be diminished, because that is in our DNA, it's in our nature. While I support the argument that Igbos must have to rethink, or start thinking about relocating to the southeastern part of Nigeria, it's a laudable one, and a noble and novel, argument. We have to look at how pragmatic this can be. Maybe somebody just has one shop in Lagos. I mean, and he goes to, some village in Abia State and locates it. I don't know how that's going to be able to be productive. But however, those people that have amassed huge amount of money, they have a high level of wealth, may decide to stagger around some of their income earning businesses. Some maybe in Onisha, in Aba, in Enugu, and so on and so forth. And then we also, I was just watching, I think, the TV the other day, and I heard that the Lagos State government, or the former Lagos State Governor Ahmed Tinubu, is threatening Igbos to, leave the trade fair complex, or they were going to change the terms of the lease agreement they signed over the trade fair complex. But then I heard again that Mr. Tinubu had no hand in it. That trade fair complex is the sole property of the federal government, and they're trying to they are attempting to kind of get the cooperation of a certain senator, to help them make sure that their businesses are not disrupted in any way possible in that location. I have not been there before, but I know a brother-in-law of mine told me that he has a spare parts shop there, spare parts where they sell diesel engine parts, and then diesel truck parts. It's a very nice location. People are making good living there. I don't know why every time after an election, there's this post-election judgment that will always hang over the heads of Igbos, as if they are the electoral umpires. This is a democratic process. People tend to, vote where their interests will be better protected. That's why they say all politics is local. So if Igbos decide to choose a particular political party, and remember, Igbos are Republican by nature. We people don't tell us what to do. We will, vote based on where our interest will best be satisfied. So if Igbos voted for PDP, and traditionally Igbos have always voted PDP. It's just like California has always voted the Democrats. You cannot punish them just because they voted based on their historical pattern of voting. I bet you in the next election cycle, Igbos are still going to vote PDP. they will vote any other party other than APC, because the APC party has created, and formulated policies that have been fundamentally inimical and hostile to the interest of the Igbos, and it's just natural. You're not gonna try to support, the one that has created these, systemic, socioeconomic inequities that tend to adversely disadvantage you, and then acquiescently advantage others. So that's very important to know that Igbos will always vote in mass to the PDP, or parties that are similarly arrayed with the programs, plans, and policies of the People's Democratic Party, especially given the fact that one of their own sons, Governor P2B, was a vice president to Atiku Abubakar. Of course, they're going to try to install P2B into power, knowing fully well that if he finds himself in the corridors of power, somehow, some way, our issues will be addressed, even if not holistically, but in parts. And then I'm going to talk about the recent attack that occurred in 2 mosques in Christchurch, New Zealand, in which Brenton, I think that's his name, from Australia, killed approximately 50 people in 2 mosques in Christchurch, New Zealand. Remember, keep in mind that the name of the town is called Christchurch, and it's one word. So my heart goes out to the victims of this violence. I don't care whether they're Muslims, whether they're Sikhs, whether they're Jews, whether they're Christians. We are people. Every life is very very sacred. Every life is solemn. Every life is sacred. Every life matters. That the individual goes in there, whatever his grouse is, and goes there to mow down worshippers, because it's the house of God. The mosque is the house of God. He goes in there to to kill the worshippers who were just exercising their their religious practices. That is condemnable. Similarly, I also want to recall that terrorism has become an equal opportunity event. Some time ago, in South, Charleston, South Carolina church, black church, Dylan Roof went in there and killed approximately 10 black worshippers, just for exercising their religious, proclivity, and that he killed them. And then again, not too long ago, a certain, Robert Bauer, went into the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and killed almost 10 Jewish worshippers. So you can see the trauma of trilogy, the traumatic trilogy that is playing itself out here, where no religious denomination is safe from attack. Because I have noted that some people are trying to politicize this, that because they are Muslims, that's why the individual went there and killed them. But I'm saying to you that terrorism does not know religion or sect. It just terrorists just go into wherever they think they can do the most harm. So as we see this traumatic trilogy play out in the mosque in Christchurch in New Zealand, in the synagogue in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and at the church in Charleston, Carolina. So you can see how this triangular traumatic trilogy tends to just revolve within our religious spaces. my heart goes out to everyone who may have lost, loved ones in these senseless, homicidal, impulses that people tend to perpetrate, particularly in, religious settings and spaces. Now, I have been receiving a lot of, messages in my, social media handle regarding, some issues about Igbo Jewish, proclivity. People, a lot of Igbos, have been texting me saying, "No, Igbos. How am I sure that Igbos are not, have never been Christians? Who have not been Jews um, that we should stop, corrupting the minds of our people with this, Jewish nonsense." Well, people, a lot of people lack a complicated understanding of, Judaism. They tend to, just, be oversimplistic and reductionistic in their understanding of Judaism. A lot of our people just are kind of intimidated with Judaism. They think Jews, that we don't feed the, we Igbos don't feed the pot. You gotta be light skinned, you gotta be blue eyed, you gotta have blonde hair for you to be considered a Jew. But I am saying to you that if you read the text, if you read the Talmud, the Torah, the Mishnah, the other, publications, you're going to find out that Jews come from different, different, geographical locations. Some of the lost tribes have been found in India. Some have been found in Japan. Some have been found in Afghanistan. My rabbi, Rabbi Harry Rosenberg, is is a renowned researcher about the lost tribe, and he has located the lost tribe in faraway Afghanistan. So they're there, and he has also located them in Nigeria. The Igbo Jews, we're not converts; we are original Jews. So when your intellectuals are heavily invested in reclaiming our lost Jewish heritage, you need to tag along. Don't be critical. I mean, it's a place of free. It's a market. It's a free market of ideas. People can postulate, propagate, and push whatever doctrine, dogma that fascinates them. But I am saying to you that Igbos have a legitimate claim to Judaism, and then we will not relent. We are not going to capitulate. We will not defer to. Neither are we going to surrender this legitimate claim to our Jewish heritage. And even some of our Anglo-Saxon brothers, are keying into this. If you look at the Igbo Jewish Forum, an online, platform, which I am a co-sponsor, you're going to see a lot of, Anglo-Saxon people from all around the world, becoming members of our, forum, because they see there's a legitimacy. They see that we have a verifiable, justification to make this claim. I mean, it's possible that a lot of Igbos are not going to automatically key into this movement. It's the same thing in Israel. It's not everybody that lives in Israel that goes to the synagogue. A lot of Jews go to church. They call themselves the Messianic, Jews. Similarly, a lot of our Igbo brothers will also go to church, but that does not preclude nor detract from the idea that you have a Jewish lineage, Israelite heritage, or Semitic roots. So it's just important that we be clear about that. This is the only religion that we're not going to contest. That we will not contest. We're not going to contest it with anybody. It is our forefathers' legacy, and we must have to perpetuate it to eternity. And then I'm also satisfied, as well as glad, and that a lot of synagogues are being opened up in Nigeria. Brother Chidi Aralu, published an abridged version of some of the active synagogues right now. And that's, the list is not exhaustive because there are so many other synagogues that are still out there that we need to identify and bring into people's knowledge. We need to bring we need to give some visibility. But approximately 40 at the last count, 40 synagogues, and I'm saying to you that in the very near future there will probably be more synagogues in Nigeria than even in Israel and other places. Because our people are enthusiastic. A lot of people are joining the Igbo Jewish Forum. The last count, 32 people just joined because they like this this movement of our Jewish heritage. Phone is ringing. I might pick up the phone if it rings in my room. But yeah, if it doesn't stop, I'm gonna go pick it up. But so just to bring to your notice that we are making progress. The people are opening up synagogues in different places, across Nigeria, and then we're gonna, some of them are rented apartments. That's how it starts. Until we start, buying our own properties and building, building up our own synagogues. But I'm trying to tell you that very soon a lot of the churches are gonna lose Igbo membership, because once they go into synagogue, they never go back. So the churches may begin to articulate a new vision for themselves, because our people are getting ready to go back to the Judaism, the religion of our forefathers. And you can't have one foot in the church and one foot in the synagogue. You have to make up in your mind where you belong, because the prophet say, "As for me and my house, we shall serve the Lord." So, and it was a Jew that made that proclamation. I think it was Prophet Isaiah, also, one of those Jewish prophets. And then somebody also raised the question of somebody in our forum quoting the Bible. He was asked, "Are you a Christian or are you a Jew?" He was quoting the Bible. So, but I'm trying to clarify one thing. We don't have enmity. We don't have any disagreement with Christianity. Remember that the Christian Bible contains the 5 books of the Torah. The first 5 books in the Old Testament contain the Torah. So and so, if you go into synagogue, most of the liturgy is drawn from those 5 books of the Torah. So we we cannot divorce Judaism from that Christian Bible, because that's the Torah, the first 5 books of the Old Testament. So our people who go to synagogue can still quote from the Bible. That does not detract or diminish their Jewish identity. The Bible is not the devil will think. And then again, if you go to Shabbat services, the rabbi or the Kohen, or members of the Kohanim, might also want to read from the prophets. They can read from Ezra. They can read from Prophet Isaiah. They can read Nehemiah. They can read from different prophetic books from the Bible. So I was just trying to clarify that we're not gonna throw or jettison the Bible. Sometimes too, we can get a lot of inspiration from the Bible, and this is where we have been stuck for years. So it's going to take time for our people to completely abandon Christianity, but there's not going to be a radical divorce from our connection with the Bible, because the 5 books, the Torah, the 5 books that constitute or make up the Torah are found in the Old Testament text. And I also want to thank all our brothers and sisters who have joined the Igbo Jewish Forum. I want to thank you. I want to extend my warm welcome to you for joining our forum, and I want you to be active, because I see a lot of brothers and sisters are not active in the forum. It's not Sister Mokon or Mokoni, Chinemezu Mokoni. It's not Brother Chidaralu or Dr. Itiba that will create that activity in the forum. Everybody has to chip in. You gotta ask some thought-provoking questions. You gotta write your opinion. You gotta just do something to keep the forum active. We want to keep the forum active. Once people see forum active, an active forum, they're gonna join our forum. So it's important that we be familiar with, understanding of, and active in our Igbo Jewish forum. So I am very, very, gratified and satisfied about the progress that is being made in terms of the opening up of or establishment of, synagogues. And then you got to remember that it's our responsibility to keep these synagogues open. Synagogues don't operate in a vacuum. Somebody has to pay the bills. They got to pay electricity bill. They got to pay the rent. They have to pay for water. They have to pay for, Shabbat, artifacts, the candles, the bread and wine, everything that is the unleavened bread that is used for Shabbat services, will have to be paid for. So members must have to support their members of the Kohanim. Kohanim means the priestly class. People from the Aaronic Aaron, the brother of Moses, was the foremost Kohanim. So you gotta support the Kohanim class in your synagogue. You gotta support your rabbis, because I heard that a lot of people have been trained as rabbis operating also in some of these synagogues in Nigeria. Hopefully down the road we're gonna establish our own yeshiva and train our own rabbis. And I was just speaking to my friend and my rabbi Harry Rosenberg the other day regarding identifying a synagogue that I might be going to worship in. And he said that the reason why it's not a matter of pigment or melanin. It's not about the color of the skin. That the most of these Anglo-Saxon synagogues want to make sure that we are observing the, what did he call it? There's a name. There's a Hebrew name that he referred to. It's going to come to me. That we must have to make sure that we practice that. I think it has to do with Jewish laws. In terms of dietary laws, the way we pray, the way we conduct ourselves. Those Jewish laws. That our text messages is in this cell phone that I'm using to make this recording, so I can't even scroll down to find it. But let me go into my laptop and see if I can be able to retrieve that. But the point he's trying to make is that if we really want to be embraced by Anglo-Saxon synagogues, we have to start practicing. I'm not very conversant with Hebrew words, but let me see if I can Google it. Jewish laws. Halakha, yes, halakha. Halakha, yes. Say, and it's spelled different ways. Halakah. I know this word, but I don't know why it just escaped my memory. And so we have to start practicing halakha. And then he said he's gonna, start learning halakha with me. He lives in Israel, but he's a U.S. citizen, and we just met at the Venice Synagogue the last time he came here to make a presentation. He's a excuse me. Yeah, he's one of the go-to guys when it comes to Jewish laws. He's one of the most sought after international Jewish luminaries. So I'll be very, very excited if I can learn under his tutelage. Remember, this is not a conversion, before you chew me out. This is just to enrich my own Jewish understanding of phenomena. having been in the church all my life, and I'm 58 years, I've been in the church all my life. So I'm not trying to retrace my step toward the religion of our forefathers. So there are some things I gotta learn from people. It's not. Let's be honest. Unless we're not trying to speak honestly. There are opportunities for learning that we must not let pass us by. If he has volunteered to walk me through some of the Jewish laws of halakha, then I must take advantage of that opportunity. So, he's still articulating how we're going to be able to articulate it from Israel, and where I'm currently, taking care of my business. But I was very, very delighted when he, offered that opportunity to me. So we're going to see how it goes. But every opportunity we get to learn, Jewish laws from people who have been practicing it for, much more than we have, except if we don't want to be truthful about our condition. This is not a conversion. Then we must, avail ourselves of opportunities to further learn. That's why people go to college. If you are Mr. Know-it-all, then you don't have to go to college to be trained by professors, by lecturers, because, nobody has a, copyright to what's right and righteous. So I'm going to be looking forward to that opportunity. So the event that the recent event that occurred in Christchurch. Remember, the word is Christchurch, and then people are asking God, "Where are you? Why this tragedy happened?" And Christchurch has been a very laid-back city that has never known any tragic event. So people used the phrase of the shattering of their innocence, because it's a city that's beautiful. I've never been to Christchurch in New Zealand, but I saw it on TV. Looked, the streets are well paved, lawns are well manicured, and it's just an attractive place. But they shattered their innocence. And then people are asking, so you can see the name Christchurch, being associated with this kind of a heinous, mass, homicide that is so horrendous and heinous. And then people are asking God, "Where are you? Why did you let this happen in your own territory, in your town?" Because Christchurch is, supposedly God's own backyard. Because the name the Christchurch was named after his church. So you can see, you can begin to see the odd juxtaposition, the tension, the contradictions and conflict that exists between this town and what it has been through. That a place that is supposed to be, the epicenter of God's worship, the ground zero of the Christian faith. Because it's Christ Church, has had its innocence so shattered. So that's part of life. Similarly, you can also ask the question, why would somebody go into a Jewish synagogue to kill 10 Jewish worshippers in the Tree of Life? And then again, you can see the odd juxtaposition, again, the conflict, the contradictions and the tensions that exist in the names and nomenclatures of these spaces of worship. This one is called the Tree of Life. So the Tree of Life is a place that is supposed to exhume, is supposed to be resplendent with life. It's not a place that death should rear its ugly head. It's called the Tree of Life Synagogue. That means once you walk into its walls, into its spaces, you are, you get a new lease on life. But that was not true, because Robert Bowers had to go in there to shatter the innocence of the Tree of Life Synagogue. So now I'm telling the Igbo Jews who are, worshiping in their synagogues to keep their eyes open, because it is not yet Uhuru. Because if these things can happen in these places, people are watching, our synagogues too. We gotta keep an eye on our synagogue. We gotta, elevate our security apparatus so that we can be able to repel any aggression against our people. Remember that Jews always are the ones that are likely to be attacked before they, remember Christians and and the Muslims and the Hindus and the other ones. The Jews are the low-hanging fruit. So now that we have, we are reconnecting with the religion of our forefathers, we are also going to be, mindful of, careful about, cognizant with some of, the security, impulses that must come with, Jewish life. Otherwise, people, if they find out that, we don't take care of our security, we're not, vigilant, they might try to do us harm. I am not praying, but I'm praying that I'm not praying that it's going to happen, because my prayer is that Hashem, Adonai, God, whatever you call your own God, will keep His unchanging hand on our synagogues, on our people, because people go to synagogues to imagine a God that understands the internal dynamics of their suffering. They don't want to go into a synagogue and face homicide and face death in the hands of people who don't like their religion, people who don't like their way of worship. People go into religious spaces because they have challenges. They have issues that they want God to resolve for them. They go into churches. They go into mosques. They go into synagogues in order to imagine a God that understands the internal dynamics of their challenges, of their sufferings. So you don't want to go into that sacred, solemn, space that. Will have you in the warm embrace of God, and then and then you don't come out the same way you went in. Instead of coming out of the synagogue, vertically, you're coming out horizontally. We don't want that. So it's important that we also be vigilant and take care of our security while we go into our synagogues, because the synagogues are not immune to violence. So that's a very important point that we need to keep in mind. But we're making progress, and then we will not go back. We're not going to capitulate. We will not defer to. We will not surrender our religious heritage, which is Judaism. And don't make mistake. A lot of people in different places are watching the internet. They are watching televisions. They are seeing different things regarding how our resurgence. The last time Brother Chidi Aralu, posted a video clip of the Israeli I-24 television station, one of the most remarkable, tremendous and transcendent television stations in the Middle East, very progressive. I understand they went to a certain gentleman's house to record, a little Shabbat event. So they must have heard something for them to travel all the way from Israel to go to that place in Lagos, to go and record, to go and make a video of our, people of the ingathering, of the seed of Israel in faraway Lagos, Nigeria. So what does that tell you? It tells you that people are, seeing these things about our, reconnection with Judaism. It's not going to be automatic for them to embrace us. I'm not talking about recognition. I'm not talking about affirmation. I'm not talking about validation, because those conceptions are not even going to be, they're not going to be productive for us. What about, I'm talking about recognition. What about if one person recognizes you in Israel, or the Israeli Ministry of Interior Affairs, or some Israeli agency, or the Rabbinical Council recognizes you, and then others don't recognize you? What are you going to do with that? So the issue of recognition is not binding. If, I mean, somebody recognizes you in Israel, what about the other people? They say, no, we still have questions. These people are not observing halakha. And then, we don't think they are good enough. We don't think they fit the pot. What are you going to do? So that's why we should not, even emphasize the issue of recognition, the issue of validation or affirmation. We want to be embraced. And then the embrace has to be on an even keel. It has to be on mutual respect for one another's ethnic, heritage. We are Igbo Jews, I can't emphasize it enough. Even the word Igbo is derived from Hebrew, Hebrew. You're gonna see different, pronunciation of the word Igbo, Igbo. It's all the same thing. So, I just wanted to slide that in there. That at some point, the mainstream dominant Jewish communities will reach out to us. And I've been doing a lot of groundwork myself, trying to, create that visibility regarding Igbo Jews. That's why, I have this banner, Igbo Jews, and people are clicking on it. Well, let's see who these people are, these Igbo Jews. So it's important that, we keep up the pressure on our people to return to their Jewish roots. And then brother Remy Lona is doing a very wonderful work, with the Omenala conception. We must have to return to our Igbo rites, rituals, and other ways of keeping alive our heritage, our Igbo heritage. He's emphasizing that we must wear our face cap. I'm not really a student of that red face cap, but I have to cover my hair one way or the other. Everybody has their own, sartorial, style. Sartorial standards. I'm not really, a student of the red Igbo cap. Some people like it, but I must have to cover my hair in reverence to Hashem, in reverence to Adonai, in reverence to, God. But those who can, who like to wear the face cap, the red face, should do that. As long as you cover your head in reverence to Adonai. If you look over here, I still have my kippah. I have my kippah underneath. Sometimes if it gets too hot with this woolen hat, then at least I have my kippah or my yarmulke covering my head. I hope you guys can see it. So things like that. Oh, and then some people have been, calling me names. They say, oh, I'm a Rastafarian. You're a Rastafarian. Let me tell you something. I am not a Rastafarian. I am not. I just say, I am a Kohanim. I am a priest, a high priest. I am not a Kohan. And if you look at the book of Numbers, I believe it's chapter 5, verse 6, it says, and for the priest, a razor shall not be upon his head, because his head has been consecrated by God. That's what the book of Numbers, the author of the book of Numbers, wrote about the Kohanim, about members of the priestly class. And I am a member of the priestly class. I come from the tribe of Levi. That doesn't mean I'm not also from the tribe of Gad, which Igbos lay claim to. Again, Igbos, you gotta remember, nobody comes from one tribe. People come from different tribes. So I'm a member of the Kohanim. So the book of Numbers, was written by the prophet. It says, as for the priest, the razor shall not be upon his head, because his head has been consecrated by God. So that's why I leave my hair in locks. I'm not doing it, for stylish reason or sartorial, reasons. It's just I'm trying to fulfill what the book says. Okay, so you gotta be, you gotta understand that I am not a Rastafarian. I like reggae music. I like Bob Marley, I like Peter Tosh, I like all of them. But I'm not a Rastafarian. Igbos are not Rastafarians. Igbos are Jews. But, you saw, John the Baptist walking around with, hair, with his hair in locks. The same thing with Samson. Remember, Samson was a member of the judges when judges ruled Israel. Because there was a time in ancient Israeli history when the kings did not reign. The judges ruled. And Samson, the powerful Samson, who allowed Delilah to influence him to cut his hair, was part of the ruling oligarchy, was the part of the ruling elite of Israel during that time period. He didn't cut his hair. He left his head in locks, not as Rastafarians. So I just wanted to clarify that and ask those who are referring to me as Rastafarian to cease and desist. I am not a Rastafarian. I am a member of the Kohanim. Kohanim. Kohanim means a member of the priestly class, Jewish priestly class. I am a member of the order of Aaron. Aaron, who was Prophet Moses' elder brother. I don't know if you can say Moses, but Moses in the Bible, the one that led the children of Israel out of Egypt into the promised land. So so I just wanted to clarify that. And then, my colleagues, the people at work, they come to me, they say, oh man, I like this hair. And they're not being sarcastic because the hair is sophisticated. I can wear my hair anywhere I like. So it's not a big deal. So you guys need to stop castigating me and waging this war of calumny against me, because I'm just a guy, propagating, return and resurgence of Igbos to their Jewish heritage. So today I'm gonna be ending this, podcast with the poem of W.B. Yeats. It's called AIDS. It's called AIDS. Yeah, somebody's trying to take out the trash. AIDS. Love for the close of heaven. So it's a very beautiful poem that he wrote about somebody's love for the close of heaven, and he reads in part: had I the embroidered clothes of heaven, enwrought with golden and silver light, I will spread them under your feet. But I, being poor, have only my dreams, and I will spread my dreams under your feet. Tread carefully, because you tread on my dreams. This is a very pivotal poem, and it's very Socratic in nature because it's raising a very important question. Hi there. Yeah. So those are some of the issues that I have to. Hi there. How's it going, sir?
Oh, how you doing?
Hey, how are you?
All right, how you doing?
All right, welcome.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's the guy taking out trash, so I had to be nice and say hello. Yeah, so it's a very pivotal, important poem that he wrote about a guy wishing for the close of heaven. But I, being poor, only have my dreams, and I will spread my dreams under your feet. Tread softly, because you tread on my dreams. Can I tell you that Pharaoh received the dreams 2 in 1 night, but not the discernment to interpret even his own dreams? And people have argued that it was not God's intention to even give Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, the dreams, but to detail his nightmares. So you have your dreams, Igbos, you gotta defend your dreams with your life. You have to defend your Jewish ancestry, which is your dream, with your life. Don't spread your dream under anybody's feet, because they're gonna trample on it. People don't have decorum. People don't understand, people's background. Do not spread your dreams on under anybody's feet, thinking they're going to tread lightly on it. They will destroy and trample on your dreams. Pharaoh got the dreams 2 in 1 night, but not the discernment to interpret even his own dreams. He called the psychologists. He called the palm readers. He called the astrologers. He called all the marabouts to interpret his own dream. Yet, they did that to no avail. That means if you have been given a dream, you gotta defend your dream. You gotta protect your dream, because nobody's going to walk your dream better than you can. So I'll leave you on that Socratic note about dreams. Until I come your way again, this is your high priest bringing you word. And thank you so very much.